You're already 10 seconds in.
Come on, next slide.
All right, so
You need to be able to see your slides.
Hello. All right, to stay within the time, I actually wrote a script. I know, guys, sorry. And I'm already 6 seconds in. So no one knows for sure when the very first batch of beer was ever brewed. We could try to imagine what it may have been like for our hunter-gatherer relatives as they transitioned to an agricultural life. Experts continue to debate the exact reason for this evolution. Was it beer or bread? Whatever its origins, beer has been brewed and drunk for well over 8,000 years. Some of the early Sumerian writings from ancient Babylon, nearly 4,000 years ago, contain references to beer, such as the Code of Hammurabi, which actually have regulations for tavern keepers and recipes for beer. I think I already said that, didn't I? Back in the day, beer was considered to be the most proper gift to give to Egyptian pharaohs, and was also offered as a sacrifice to the gods. Historical evidence suggests the Egyptians taught the Greeks how to brew beer. And from the Greeks to the imperial armies of Rome, the knowledge of the brewing process was carried all over Europe. During the rise of Christianity, monks proliferated the production of beer by forming some of the first known breweries as part of their efforts to provide food, shelter, and drink to tired and thirsty travelers and pilgrims. St. Augustine, St. Luke, and St. Nick, yes, the inspiration for Santa Claus, are all considered to be patrons of brewing. According to the Mayflower ship log, part of the reason the pilgrims came ashore in Plymouth, Massachusetts, was that they were nearly out of beer. Even though they had stocked enough for every man, woman, and child to consume 1 gallon per day. In the 1860s, French chemist and microbiologist Louis Pasteur worked to find a process that would help prevent wine and beer from souring. The process of slowing microbial growth in food is known today as pasteurization. Many of the microbiological brewing practices used today were born out of his investigations of fermentation. Yeah, fermentation, known as the conversion of carbohydrates to alcohols and carbon dioxide or organic acids using yeast, bacteria, or a combination thereof, under anaerobic conditions. A more restrictive definition of fermentation is the chemical conversion of sugars into alcohols. Thanks to the Industrial Revolution, the mechanization of brewing was made possible. And with the use of the thermometer and the saccharometer, in addition to the development of ice making, whoa, I just hit something. Didn't I? I can't go on the other side. Okay.
Keep going.
Well, I'm going. No, you're
Go
fine.
faster.
It's okay, it's me. First half of the 20th century ushered in one of the saddest chapters of the history of beer. From North America to Russia, sumptuary laws to prohibit alcohol spread like wildfire. After several years, prohibition became a failure in North America, and most everywhere else as bootlegging became widespread and organized crime took control of the distribution of alcohol. Sadly, the poor souls in Iceland couldn't have a beer until 1989. Brewing beer is actually made by steeping a starch source, such as barley, in water and then fermenting with yeast. The basic ingredients of beer are water, a starch source, which is able to be fermented or converted into alcohol, a brewer's yeast to produce fermentation, and flavoring, such as hops. The diversity of mineral content in water, beer's main ingredient, meant that different regions of the world were originally better suited to making certain styles and types of beer. For example, the mountain waters of Dublin naturally contain some calcium and magnesium sulfate, which make it very well suited for brewing stouts such as Guinness. Now, the starch source in a beer provides the fermentable material and is a key determinant of the strength and flavor of beer. The most common starch source used in beer is the malted grain, such as barley. And grain is malted by soaking it in water, allowing it to begin germination, and then drying the partially germinated grain in a kiln. Malting grain produces enzymes that convert starches in the grain into fermentable sugars. Different roasting times and temperatures are used to produce different colors of malt from the very same grain. Darker malts produce darker beers, and nearly all barley malt, nearly all beer includes barley malt as the majority of the starch. Flavoring beer is the sole major commercial use of hops. The flowering of the hop vine is used as the flavoring and preservative agent in nearly all beer made today. The flowers themselves are called the hops, and hops were used also by monasteries during a time when beer was usually flavored with other plants such as clover or herbs and berries. And hops actually have this, they contribute the bitterness that balances the sweetness of the malt and also adds a floral or citrus and herbal aroma or flavor to the beer. And they also aid in retention, or head retention, which is the length of time that the foamy head created by the carbonation will last. Yeast is one of the most important ingredients in brewing beer, responsible for the metabolic processes that produce ethanol, carbon dioxide, and a whole range of other metabolic byproducts that contribute to the flavor and finish of beer. There are literally hundreds of varieties and strains of yeast. You guys were really trying. All right, finings are often used in beer to facilitate and speed up clearing. All of the particles clouding a beer have an electrical charge. Positive charged finings will attract negatively charged particles and bind with them, making them too heavy to float. Aside from the obvious contributions made to the fashion and advertising industries, beer has introduced a variety of social traditions and activities such as playing cards, darts, festivals, and a number of drinking games, including quarters and the ever-popular beer pong. From America to Germany, no other alcoholic beverage is consumed more than beer. Beer claims the bronze medal in the most popular drinks overall category, sharing the podium with water and tea. So let's go grab a pint together, raise our glasses, and thank our forefathers for all the hard work that they've done. Cheers. Woo!